Only it was 3 years ago. Now, I would request Mr. Vinod Kumar to tell us what was his feeling on that first day of July 2017 when we launched the GST.
Well, it was quite a thrilling moment for us, especially those of us who had been working on this for quite some time, a few years of hard work. And you know that though the discussion started, the first mention was sometime in 2000. But basically,
some glitch with the Zoom server, I believe.
Okay, and he says it's because it's in China, and we should be grateful that this is one of the apps which was not banned yesterday, so that we could meet today, in spite of the server being in China. Sir, we started a column called ST Se GST Tak on the 6th of August of 2007, hoping that GST would come in a year or two. Now, Mr. Raghuraman, could you tell us what was your feeling on the 1st of July 2017? How did you visualize GST to be?
To tell you the truth, I was addressing a national seminar of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, which was being telecast through the country. And I was talking about GST only.
Okay.
So it was an extremely happy moment for me, and the Bangalore branch had chosen me to address on this aspect of GST. I felt, that it is a landmark decision that was taken by the government. The present dispensation has to be given a lot of credit for subsuming several indirect taxes and putting it into one tax. Whether it is how simple, how complex it is, we will, look at it further. But the very fact that we got states to agree, very fact that we got 17 cesses removed and several other acts combined into one act, that is no mean achievement. So I think a substantial credit should go to the present government for thinking through this, and especially the former finance minister Mr. Jaitley for bringing all the states together in his most affable manner. Without this, it would have been very difficult for us to go through with this reform. I felt, finally, what I felt was that this is one reform that is going to stay for quite some time. And I don't think, given our attitude towards change in general, we are going to change this very quickly. Like we don't have any political compulsions to change this. So I have a feeling that this is a good step taken 3 years back. And I feel that this legislation will go from strength to strength. There are some issues here and there, but it's a good step it's a step in the right direction.
So you are happy. Fine. That's
I'm
right.
very happy.
And I hope you are still happy.
I'm very happy still.
Wow,
because I'm hopeful.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Let's hear Mr. Rajendra Kumar. What do you say?
Thank you very much, sir. In fact, my engagement with the OECD for about now a decade or so, and continuously interacting with the members of the technical advisory group and about 100 regulators and lawmakers of different countries. Whenever we used to have meetings, I used to be questioned as to India is such a vast, diverse country with so much of differences in terms of education, in terms of business patterns, in terms of models, etc. And we are just looking at your country as to how are you going to implement this particular tax, which even Europe is not able to come to a conclusion even till now. And India being a country larger than Europe in terms of size and in terms of everything. But then when it happened on 1st of July 2017, I was very much proud. I felt very proud about my country. And then rest is history. More of this, I'll come back to you a little while later when I will share with you some of my experiences after 2017, when I met many of these regulators and lawmakers and tax consultants at the OECD. In fact, Mr. Vinod Kumar very well knows India's engagement, India's deep engagement at the Working Party 9, and India being a steering committee member of the Working Party 9.
Foreigners' perception of India's launching this great GST.
Oh,
What did you
wow.
find?
Wow, that was, oh my God, what is this? Superb you have done. You have shown, a federal country has shown a way to the world that how GST could be implemented in a federal country like India with almost 2 layers of government. All of them were surprised, and they continue to be in surprise even till today, believe me. Thank you very much.
Great, wonderful. Yes, Mr. Puneet Bansal, what do you have to say?
So, sir, as a citizen of a country, I was really proud that both center and state can come together. I see India more like a European Union where 30 or 40 countries are together and they can come together and have a single legislation, both in terms of substantive law, compliance law, rates, etc., throughout the country. So as a citizen of the country, it was a very proud moment. As a professional, it was a very exciting moment because in '99, when I started my career, I saw MODVAT and then service tax gradually growing. Then 2004, we saw service tax credits being available, negative list coming. So it was altogether a new legislation coming. And as a legal professional, whenever new legislation comes, it brings its own interpretation, intellectual stimulations, opportunities, etc. So I was very excited. But yes, there was some bit of fear in the mind also that if it is actually a simple tax, so will the legal practice scope itself will reduce in times to come or not? So yes, there was a bit of fear as well.
Okay. But the fears are unfounded, no?
Yeah. So in 3 months' time, I realized that those fears were unfounded.
Yeah, Praveen.
Yes, briefly, I would like to share the sentiment of all the distinguished panelists here. In fact, as you rightly said, the GST column and my excitement about GST was no less great than others. In fact, I just thought of a new exciting subject, to write about, and then I started, in fact, writing on GST, and I find that, the other day I was just looking at the number of GST articles, and I have ended up, counting about 250 to 300 articles on GST alone, since 2007, as Mr. Vinod Kumar said, that 2006 budget speech, immediately after Mr. Chidambaram, that triggered that, that what is this new system? Then I started looking at the GST in other countries, and particularly the countries having federal structure. So we went to Canada, and of course, the Department of Revenue, India had some kind of tie-up with the Revenue Canada, in fact. And a lot of, the team coming to India and interesting training, various kinds of training modules being organized here, etc. And then I used to take interest in that. And the audit, something which came out in a big way, very, very, very
great I think everyone is very, very nostalgic about that great wedding day when we were all so happy. But I think 3 years is too long a time for the honeymoon to be over. Shall we get to the present? Where are we today? And are we all as excited about it as we were 3 years ago? And now that we are setting up the family, what are our problems and how could we solve them? Again, yes, Mr. Rajendra Kumar, you wanted to say something?
No, so please continue.
Yeah. So, Mr. Vinod Kumar, now that you are not part of the machinery that created this, some people say now, like all of us agree, that it was a great creation. But there are many people who also feel that it was a Frankenstein. It was an unfortunate creation. It has created a lot of problems and all that. Now, looking from outside, how do you feel? Where are we today?
See, first thing, we have now experienced or seen the system working for the last 3 years. As Mr. Rajendra Kumar said, a lot of people did not believe that so many state governments, central government, union territories, so many stakeholders involved in it, apart from the trade and industry and the taxpayers themselves, could actually make this a system that would run and sustain. But what has been our experience in the last 3 years? One very pleasant, positive thing that we have seen is the way that the GST Council has been functioning. And a lot of credit goes to Mr. Arun Jaitley, the then FM, the way he said it, the tenor that he said,
Oh,
What did you
wow.
find?
Wow, that was, oh my God, what is this? Superb you have done. You have shown, a federal country has shown a way to the world that how GST could be implemented in a federal country like India with almost 2 layers of government. All of them were surprised, and they continue to be in surprise even till today, believe me. Thank you very much.
Great, wonderful. Yes, Mr. Puneet Bansal, what do you have to say?
So, sir, as a citizen of a country, I was really proud that both center and state can come together. I see India more like a European Union where 30 or 40 countries are together and they can come together.
Thank you. I think, yes, you find the checkposts have gone, the GST Council is working. Though Mr. Jaitley still is not around, still I think consensus, they are making efforts to have consensus. And hopefully petroleum will come into this net maybe after these difficult periods pass. Mr. Sridhar, we were waiting for you. We couldn't get you.
Yeah, because of the bad connection, I think I heard the first round comments also. I think there's no need to go back to that. I think in terms of the future that lies ahead, I think it would still lie with GST 3.0. And as Mr. Vinod Kumar said, if you put it into 2 baskets, I think I would divide the 2 baskets into 3 baskets, I would say. Keeping aside what can come into GST, the rates would be 1 basket. Second is we can divide the second basket into 2 things. Perhaps there are a lot of low-hanging fruits that can be done for the trade and industry. 1. That has to be attended by, say, March or April 21, after we go out of the effect of the pandemic. And
this ITC is a very important aspect that you're talking about. I find that maybe officers like Mr. Vinod Kumar would not like to give ITC, and trade representatives like Mr. Sridhar would always like to have ITC. In fact, very recently the board issued a circular or an advisory on how to fight the cases in the high courts on the transitional credit, where the board has been very, very clearly hammering that credit is not your vested right. It is my mercy. Do you think this ITC is a major impediment to a good and simple tax? What would Mr. Puneet say? He has been litigating, I think, all these things quite a lot.
So, one of the major objectives from the government side was that cascading effect of taxes will be removed. There'll be seamless flow of credits. I think that was the underlying objective due to which we moved to GST. So I see there are 2 aspects to it. So one, there were taxes which were not creditable, like entry tax, CST, all those things have gone. So the industry saved from cost of those taxes. The second aspect is the taxes which are still levied. So the government should only have one criteria in my view, that if these expenses are incurred for your business, then credit should be available, then no question should be asked.
Yes, Puneetji, you have raised some very, very important issues. Like you said, ITC is a major issue. But then do we have a solution? Like ITC as such, I don't think is a major chunk of the government's revenue. They can be a little kind and leave most of these issues. Then as you said, laws are though I won't say drafted poorly, certainly not drafted as they should have been for both sides. Maybe one of the reasons could be, I think maybe Mr. Vinod Kumar can tell us why the laws are not drafted as they should have been. Then this invoice, you say, for example, after GST, this fake invoice thing has become such a big issue. Maybe 1 or 2% of the trade would indulge in these fake invoices. And that is big news. And fake invoices have come because our system was not proper. As Mr. Vinod Kumar says, he wants voluntary compliance. Most of the people are ready to voluntarily comply if you would allow them to do. Let's see what the others would suggest on this. Can't we solve this ITC problem once for all? Make a simple law. And as he says, if you have paid tax, give the credit. How much are you going to lose? So the professionals are going to be happy. And maybe
Not really. Not really.
There's nothing wrong with God. Only the pujari is the culprit. The law is okay. Only the implementing agencies are.
No, I'll give you a simple example. You talk of denying, a credit on personal expenses, which is found in section 17 bracket 2, or for that matter, 17 bracket 5. Same things are there in UK VAT, which is left to the commissioner to decide. For example, input tax credit on motor cars. Simple example. Now, that is not, I am not saying litigation will not happen, but the way it is administered shows that it is done reasonably. Here, it is not done reasonably. You look at simple things. Why do you take block credits under 86A, for example, a rule which was introduced? Do you know that, I do not know how many people know this. In your system, you will not be able to access the credit. You will not know what has happened. But when you go to the department, you will find that it has been blocked.
Yes.
You can't do this. This is ridiculous. You are putting, people to, their own credit which they take. You are telling them that I am not going to show you on your screen, but it will be on my screen. This is something, which is fairly serious, and you will have to look into what Mr. Puneet Bansal said. Input tax credit is important for the profit and loss of the industry. Nobody will set up an industry if his profits are going to be taken away, one, by input tax credit, and two, by not giving him refunds.
Before I go to Mr. Rajendra Kumar, I think I should ask Mr. Vinod Kumar. Sir, can you explain this? Are the Babus more loyal than the king? Do you believe that you should not give what the parliament, what the prime minister, what the finance minister, all of them want ease of doing business, allow the credit, cascading effect of taxation should go. But somehow Raghuraman finds that there is some commissioner or some superintendent, some board, which is always trying to see that this is not allowed. And for you, it is nothing. As he says, either you allow Raghuraman credit or not, you don't lose anything. But if credit is not given, Raghuraman's business is gone. He doesn't make 50% profit as he used to do in the early days. Now this cuts into his profit. Do you think bureaucrats have a feeling that they are the sole custodians of revenue? From your experience, if you can say, sir. I don't want you to be.
I can always say so because I'm not a bureaucrat anymore. So I can speak freely. But one time,
Mr. Raghuraman and Puneetji, you feel we are better off? Actually, I think you are on. You both were in Bangalore on the opposite sides.
No, we were on the same side.
Same side.
Got along very well.
True, sir. But
Yes,
what I mean is, there was only a check post between the two of you.
No, with Mr. Vinod Kumar, there's no check post. He was a
yes,
fine
sir.
officer.
Do you think we are in the situation is better?
You see, it is like this, I would say this way. I would say that the situation from 94 to now, yes, far better. There's no doubt about that. What I am saying is this: it could have been even better if you do not introduce discretionary rules and rule by exception. I'm only saying this. You find fake invoices happening in 100 instances. Fine. What is the total number of instances as a population that you have in terms of invoices? Few crores? In these 100 or 200 instances as a percentage of those crore is nothing. Do you need to introduce a draconian rule for that? That is the thing which we have to think about. We can't rule by exception.
And as he says, if matching could be done,
Sir,
fake
I will tell you.
invoices are over.
Sir, I will tell you.
You are not able to do it.
Sir, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you. This matching is, the problem is with the system. I'm sorry to tell you this. You may be rudely shocked by what I'm going to tell you. GSTR 1, 2, and 3 were 3 returns to be submitted. It would be auto-populated and done. Today, 2 and 3 are not functional. Why? Why? Because the technology after 3 years has not caught on. You're not able to do it. Why not you allow, on 1st of July 2017, I mentioned this. In service tax, you allowed 6 monthly return filing. Monthly collection of tax is okay. You could have continued that. Why are you insisting of matching of credits when your system does not allow it properly? Your 2 and 3 are still not, you're not able to file. That's why you bought a 3B today.
What do you think of this trust, Mr. Rajendra Kumar? You have been silent for too long.
Thank you, sir. I was just waiting for my turn. Leisure, entertainment, amusement. These 3 terms look the same to all of us, isn't it? Leisure, entertainment, amusement. I have been a student of consumption taxes for almost now 2 and odd decades. And as Raghuraman sir said, many countries do have restrictions when it comes to input tax credit. Some call it VAT credits.
Great, amused in Malta.
Sir, no problem, sir.
But this gap or the trust gap between the administrator of the tax and the taxpayer, I think ultimately there is a gap even between all of us and the courts. The judiciary also is totally confused about GST. And they are made to give orders on such a confused subject. Have we made litigation more confusing in GST? What would be your opinions? Yes, sir. Mr. Sridhar.
See, actually, we have made litigation more confused in GST because I would say if you see the last 3 years' performance and what should be done for the future. This is one of TIOL's earliest presentations up to last week also. We said this National Authority for Advanced Ruling, which the provisions which were brought in have not been given effect to.
Sir, in the income tax regime, you would have the retired judges of the Supreme Court or sitting in the AAR. Every state has a pool of retired judges who are there. I'm not saying that they should look at it at a post-retirement job, but to introduce fairness in the system, the constitution of AAR should have a fair amount of retired judges, and even retired, some of the officials, fine people are there in the state government also, and the center, who are quite impartial. And I think those are the people you should be looking at, those who are not going to clamor for any executive positions anymore. They will make a good addition to the AAR, and you can make that successful actually, if you are serious about it.
No, Mr. Raghuraman, I think however fair, nice an officer is, what we have found is when they pass an adjudicating order as an assistant commissioner or as an appellate authority for advanced ruling, somehow the mindset works that I have to pass this order in favor of revenue. They are paying me, I have to pass that order. That I think is the problem. And that is why maybe if you have a retired judge there, he'll tell you, look here, you are here to pass a reasonable order,
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
an order for your boss.
Absolutely. That's why I'm saying retired officer also.
Yes.
Right.
Retired officer
yes.
also will
In
help.
fact, I mean, I'm tempted
Subject
to
to
say
the
some of the best officers in the department, they are otherwise very, very fair, very reasonable. But once they sit as an adjudicator, the whole mindset changes. They are
Mr.
Do
Vijay
you,
Kumar,
do you
I'll,
think, sir, actually, I'm just suggesting, sir, that, the Mr. Raghuram is suggesting, that we should have some retired judges, etc. And if the government thinks that that's an expensive affair, hiring too many, retired judges, and in terms of infrastructure, etc., maybe, sir, they could consider the minimum is to change that name of the authority for advanced ruling as authority to advanced litigation. That is the minimum they can do. Perhaps that is what they're doing actually.
you mean to say a change in nomenclature will
Will
create
do
a
for
change
some
in
time.
attitude?
At least the taxpayers will be satisfied that we are going to authority to which promotes or advances litigation. So from there we will go to High Court or whatever. At least they will not have the hope.
No, but I think there is with Mr. Vinod Kumar agreeing or having the last word, I would say, sir, the consensus is these two authorities have caused more damage than good. It would be good if the government winds them up, closes the shop, and as Mr. Shailendra says, we can save a few pennies also. Don't have these officers. Nothing, heavens are not going to fall if these officers are locked up. Maybe the consultants, the practitioners may lose a little money, but that is good contribution to the country. What do you say, Mr. Vinod Kumar?
See,
I know I'm
basically,
asking you a difficult
unfair
question.
question.
Maybe.
Very unfair question because I've
Yes.
been a bureaucrat for more than 3 decades. All right. But I'll come back to that. But the point one is about the anti-profiteering. As rightly pointed out, it is there in Australia. The anti-profiteering is not a permanent body. It was brought in for a period of 2 years, and it's been given an extension only because of other reasons.
Thank you, sir. That's, I think, as you rightly mentioned, the AAR in the pre-GST regime at the central level was headed by a retired Supreme Court judge. And the member was a retired, serving board member ranked officer. And the state VAT AARs were by additional commissioners. You clubbed these two and you made 2 joint commissioners as the lower level and 2 chief commissioners at the higher level. Totally forgot the judge. Even when the judge was like one, Justice Balasubramaniam was the chairman of the AAR. He once ruled that all my judgments can be appealed only in the Supreme Court. Some High Court said, no, nothing doing. You may be a retired Supreme Court judge, but we have control over all of the authorities under us. An amnesty scheme. Sir, it's better that we have an amnesty scheme as early as possible and clear all the cobwebs and dust so that we can start on a better scale. Should we wait for 30 years before we pile up cases and disputes all over the country and maybe Rajendra Kumar willing all over the world? Because now our GST is also global. So maybe that scheme is, I think, long overdue. 3 years is good enough, sir. Now we should look to the future. Although some of the issues we were discussing all this while were our thoughts to the future. But what should we do from tomorrow? What should be the GST? Not 3.0 as Mr. Sridhar says. What would be 4.0? What would be the GST in 2021 July? And maybe we have problems like COVID and China. Taking that also into consideration, how are we going to? GST is a fact. We can't wish it away. We'll have to live with it. How are we going to live with it? How should we live with it? I would request the panelists to offer their suggestions.
So there are two areas which I thought you should look at. One which I find is that the GST laws are amalgam of the state VAT laws, the excise, the customs, and the service tax. Now, the state officers do not know your adjudication procedure. They only know an assessment procedure. And your central officers do not know assessment procedures. They only know the adjudication procedures.
Correct.
Now, what you need to...
Shall we conclude?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think I would request each one of you to give your concluding remarks. What are we, maybe 1 or 2 sentences on the future of GST. We have realized that we have problems. We know the solutions. As Puneet says, we want the government to be a little more liberal. Well, each one of you, starting with Mr. Vinod Kumar, concluding remarks.
Okay. First of all, let me come to talk about rates. Yes, we would all like to have very few rates, and that is part of the policy. If you read the economic survey of Dr. Arvind Subramaniam, it talks about reducing it, merging the 12 and the 18% rates. There are always such issues, but you cannot do it overnight. It takes time. Secondly, do you have the fiscal space to do it? In 2017, the economy was much better than it is today. And today we are facing yet another blow to the economy through the pandemic. So I would not expect in the near future that you could go in for such a rate change of the entire rate structure. But yes, we could go in for a lot of changes in the procedural issues, in the network issues, or the grievance redressal issues. Much of what we were discussing right now can be done in the next 1 or 2 years. But as far as Mr. Nandakumar said, the economy has to permit you to go in for lesser or less number of rates. Otherwise, I think we can do a much better job, which will be done in 1 or 2 years. Let's hope that the economy picks up next year, and that will definitely bring in much better GST for all of you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for that hopeful note. Yes, Mr. Rajendra Kumar, would you like to conclude?
Sir, yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Very briefly, no amusement.
Very briefly, only 1 minute. Only
no
1
amusement,
minute.
no leisure.
Only 1 minute. It is only entertainment, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Only 1 minute. I'm very positive. We are in for good days. Thank you very much.
Oh, great, sir. Great. Good days are ahead. What do you think, Mr. Raghuraman?
Hum honge kamyab.
What does that mean in Kannada?
No, hum honge kamyab.
Fine, great. Thank you. Yes, Puneet.
Sir, while we can be optimistic, but considering government support to industry during this COVID-19, which has been hardly anything except for small taxpayers, 2 weeks extension, government has not done anything at all. So while I would really want that things should settle, clear, etc., but considering the present government, their attitude, etc., I am started becoming pessimistic.
Kamyab.
नहीं, lawyers होंगे कामयाब.
Ah, great. That's it. Now, a quick response to that, Mr. Raghuram.
You see,
Raghuraman.
if lawyers are successful, the judiciary is successful, the government is also successful. I tell you why. The Income Tax Act was amended so many times because of litigation. So this GST law will settle because of litigation, not otherwise. You're going to fight out the cases and settle the law. So I think still I hold with the statement, when I said hum honge kamyab, I meant all of us.
Okay. I think when GST was introduced, they used to preach that it's going to be a win-win-win situation.
Yes, for all.
Win for the taxpayers, win for the government, win for the people, but certainly not win for Puneet and Raghuraman. But now we are also included into that.
Yeah, we are very much part of the system, sir.
No, as a separate basket, where Mr. Sridhar would put you in a separate basket of the system.
No, I don't want to be in that separate basket. I'll tell you why. You improve the law to reach a state where you reach it if you can. So I don't
So your
think
point, before we have the best of GST, we have to make some of the lawyers very rich.
no, many of the lawyers very rich.
Yes. Okay. Yes, Mr. Sridhar,
Yeah,
keep
I think
smiling and
a positive
smiling
note.
into future.
Yeah, we end with a positive note. We are very confident that the CBIC and the GST Council at large will perhaps look into what is required for GST 3.0 and GST 4, as you correctly said, in 2021. And we are very confident that the coming year, maybe after November of 2020, once the pandemic settles down, will definitely usher a better GST, and it will help both the trade, the industry, and the government to secure revenue and development for the society at large.
Thank you. Yes, Shailendra ji.
Yes, sir. So I think, I share the sentiment of, all the distinguished panelists, and I hope so that, the government ultimately, because what I feel is that the stage at which the economy stands today, the crossroads, and what it needs today is a massive kick of good demand. And the demand basically is linked to consumption, and consumption has a direct nexus with GST. So I feel that the government needs to take a fresh look at the GST rates and identify all those items of mass consumptions and maybe even middle class consumption, if not the luxury immediately. And the demand part has to be, repaired in a big way, because that is badly injured. And post-COVID, I feel that, the economy is going to come back on its own feet only if consumption is taken care of. And consumption can be partly taken care of through the fiscal tools, and GST is one of them. And I sincerely and very optimistically hope that GST Council will certainly apply its mind and do something positive.
Great. Thank you. So I think that was wonderful. If maybe the finance minister or some of the revenue authorities were listening to us, I'm sure a lot of good things would come. It was so nice to have such distinguished panelists, and we had certainly more of sense than sound. Even Mr. Puneet stating that he wished the government should do more was so low in decibels. Let's hope the government should do its part, and there's a lot to be done by the government. And if they do it with a sense of proportion, that taxpayers are not their enemies. Taxpayers are here for the country as much as they are. And if that happens, maybe, Mr. Sridhar, we will meet in GST 4.0, all smiling. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, everyone.